Hey guys, welcome back to Embrace with Kara
and Ray.
Today is episode 2 where we talk about self-care. But before we dive in, Raylan has something beautiful that she wants to share with us.
So I was doing a little research and I found this piece of writing that really spoke to me. I know it spoke to Kara and I feel like it could do the same for you. So it's a letter. Beautiful me. I hope you read this and believe me. You are needed. And I know that you don't feel like that right now, but you are. I know you've been harder on yourself, and how you view and talk to yourself is nothing that you would ever repeat out loud. I know that you feel like it is. This is it. This is all the future holds for you. But keep going. Keep trying every single day. You're already making waves and moving mountains, becoming who you were meant to be. It all starts with showing up for you, trusting you, and believing in you. From the person who always believes in you, me. And I feel like that's beautiful, because right now in the season of life that we're in some of us, quarantining, most of us quarantining, right? And really focused on that, the work that we do within our home and pouring that out selflessly over and over and over again. We tend to forget about filling our cup.
Yeah,
right?
Which is so important. Self-care is essential. I mean, we know that we have a crisis in this country when it comes to mental health.
Yes.
I mean, it's that's in itself is an epidemic.
Yes.
It's taking over. And I think a common denominator with people that struggle with their mental health is that they are extremely lacking in self-care.
Yes.
And there's so many different ways that you can do this. There's so many different ways that you can refill your cup. What are some things that you do to refill your cup?
I think my absolute favorite after the end of a really long day that could be filled with a bajillion things, right? I really love a hot bath. And
oh yeah.
That warm bath with a good book, or that warm bath with a good movie. I love the Hallmark Channel, right? Those are good things for me. But I know that you and I both share something very similar in self-care. So why don't you tell us about your self-care that you
Oh yeah. So me and Raylan, we love to work out, as we said on the episode before. So we're both CrossFit coaches at CrossFit Plant City, which we'll probably talk about in every episode because we love it.
It's our second home.
It really is. And people are so great there. But the biggest thing is like the whole community is super passionate about self-care, and the way that we self-care there is by exercising. And also the flip side of that, what's the other side of exercising with your health, is your nutrition.
Nutrition, yeah.
And these things are so hard. The working out is hard physically, but I think the nutrition is the bigger challenge for most of us. I mean, we all love our quarantine snacks. Yeah. Let's be real. But yeah, so self-care for me and for Raylan is getting that good workout in, getting those endorphins flowing, and getting a good sweat, and just kind of like detoxing your body. And I know for me, when I'm not getting my workout in, my husband's like, all right, I can tell you have been working out.
It's time for you to go to the gym, girl.
It's time for you to get a good sweat on, because, you
need that.
I definitely need that. But yeah, some other good ways to self-care. Let's see. Some people are not like us. Some people, they don't like to work out, and that's okay.
It's
not
totally
for everybody.
Okay.
It is for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody should do it.
Yes.
If we're just being real, and if we're like basing our opinion in science, everyone should exercise. But we understand, a lot of us shouldn't drink alcohol or drink coffee.
Right.
And we still do it.
Right.
But anyways, maybe you're somebody who likes to get your hair done or get your nails done, or what?
I think maybe taking a long walk when it's quiet, or maybe your self-care looks like getting up really early in the morning. Another thing that I really love to do is start my day with my Bible on the porch. snuggled up in a blanket, and it doesn't even matter if it's like already 70 degrees outside in the morning or 80 degrees. I've got that blanket. I've got my cup of decaf coffee because I can't have regular coffee right now. And I just sit out there and I just embrace that moment where it's peaceful, where I can hear the birds and it's quiet, and I just get to soak in and prepare myself for the day. Because the heavy part about this is you cannot pour from an empty cup, okay? And so I really just want all of you and myself, I'm going to close my eyes. I really want us to think about this piece of pottery, like a jar or a piece of clay that's molded into a pitcher, okay? And the pitcher's purpose is to hold water and to overflow. Well, then when the pitcher is overflowed and it's getting cracks because it's beaten up and the ways of the world have beaten it down and life is heavy and things have happened and there's chips, now that pitcher's no longer full. It's completely bone dry and it's empty, and you can't pour out of that. So I think when you open your eyes and you really think about that, it's kind of who we are as women in our life and in our families.
For sure.
And we need to really think about, how do I fill my cup?
Yeah, so that looks different for everybody, but whatever that may be, you got to do it. And you got to do it because you can't be who God created you to be if you aren't taking care of you. Yes. And I think that majorly applies, and this will probably resonate with tons of people, tons of women in general, is being a mom. Mm-hmm. You can't be a good mom if you're not taking care of yourself.
No.
You can't be kind to your kids when they're throwing their tantrums or
Right.
giving you attitude. You can't handle them in the way that you're supposed to handle them if you aren't in a good, sound state of mind. Right. And I know for me, I gotta have my sleep.
Right, that's
if I'm not
right
getting
there.
sleep, I am awful to be around. And I'm not a good mom when I'm not getting my rest and taking good care of myself. So, for sure.
And I know that we go through seasons of life. I had surgery a while back. And if I'm going to be really open and honest with you guys, which I've all said that I wanted to be that, last year was a really rough year for me. Self-care wise, taking care of myself and struggling some losses that were really hard for me. Right. And I kind of let myself go. Mm-hmm. And we often hear that, as a mom or a wife, we let ourselves go. But I didn't take care of myself. I wasn't exercising because I didn't feel good and I didn't feel like I should. And you know what? I think self-care is not just doing it when we should. Mm-hmm. But self-care is creating a pattern of discipline to do it because you know that the end result is going to be so beneficial for you.
Exactly. And it has to be something that's becomes a lifestyle. It has to be something that you don't just overnight wake up and, whatever, get to your goal weight or get out of that, depression or funk that you've been in. It's the accumulation of daily minuscule tasks that add up into something amazing. And you just have to be there mentally, and you have to wake up and say, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I'm going to eat the veggies. I'm going to drink my water. Yeah. I'm going to read my Bible. And I'm just going to do it. Even if in that moment it doesn't feel like it's helping or doing anything, we promise you over time, you're going to see the fruits of that labor. You really are. And you're not going to lose your crap as often as you might. Let's just be real.
And everybody around you benefits from you taking care of yourself. So I don't think it's selfish to take care of yourself. I honestly think it's a selfless act because you recognize what you need because you're still human.
Exactly. You're 100% human. And I really appreciate your transparency and the rawness of that emotion because, throughout our video channel, podcast, whatever this becomes, we want you guys to know that we are not perfect. And I think Braylon just did a really good job of illustrating that. And she has her own struggles, and as well as I do. But we want you to know that, we are here. Yes. And we're working through stuff just like you guys are. And this pandemic and being quarantined to our house has been a struggle for us as well. But we don't want you guys to put yourselves on the back burner.
Right.
And on the topic of self-care, also making sure that you are self-loving. Yes. Self-care is self-love.
Yes.
And something that Raylan had said to me earlier this week that I thought was just amazing is that we are beautifully and wonderfully made. Mm-hmm. And when we don't treat our bodies and our minds like we are beautifully and wonderfully created, we're kind of disrespecting that.
Yeah.
And you gotta love yourself and care for yourself like you are the wonderful and beautiful thing that God created you to be, So definitely think that self-care needs to be something that's bumped up on the priority list of every single person.
Yes.
Even if you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 kids, however many kids you have, I have one. And I know that if I don't do things for me, then I am just so exhausted and so tired, and I can't be a good mom, and I can't be a good wife. I can't, if I don't take good care of myself physically and good care of my fitness, I can't be a good coach.
Right.
And if I go to the hospital with an illness to take care of patients, I can't take good care of them because I don't feel well.
Right.
So you can't pour into others unless you are pouring into yourself as well.
Yeah. So. And I think what's really beautiful about this whole aspect is a lot of times we struggle with self-talk and how you speak to yourself. Mm-hmm. And you should be thinking about how you speak to yourself as that you are the most encouraging and loving and kind and gentle soul, because ultimately we need to have the most abundant amount of grace for ourselves. I personally can be so quick to give somebody encouragement and grace and just, showering them with love, because words of affirmation and speaking love like that is one of my love languages. And I know that people need to hear that. They need to be encouraged by that. But we also need to speak that to ourselves. Absolutely. We need to tell ourselves these daily affirmations that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, mm-hmm. that your body is a temple, that God's grace is sufficient even in times of weakness, that regardless of the space or the season of life that you're in, that it's okay to, like we said last week, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle. It's just not okay to give up on yourself.
Or to wallow in that struggle.
Yes, girl.
Like, do it. Wallow in it for a little bit.
I'm a wallower.
We've all been there. But, recognize when you're doing that and say, okay, this isn't healthy for me. I can't live day in and day out like this. And be strong. Reach down into that dark hole and pull your own self out, because you are in charge of your life and the choices that you make. And the choices that you make are what change the course of your
life, your children's life, the path that you're on. Something that I think is so beautiful is that without hesitation or without doubt, Kara is always willing to reality check Raylan. No, it's time that you need to stop this. Okay, it's time to do this. It's time to move there. And you know what? That is what friendship is. Sometimes friendship is hard to hear those things. It's hard to hear, hey, get out of your pit. Come on, I see it. But she can see it and pull it out of me and recognize, okay. And then I said, yes, this is it. Because you're worth it, right? You are 100%. Worth that investment.
Yes. So just, should we do the scripture?
Yeah, let's share.
So we always want to share a little bit of scripture with you guys. We're not pastors, but we come across things in the Bible that we would like to share. Mm-hmm. So the first one is Matthew 28-30, which is actually a very familiar verse. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Mm-hmm. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle, humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Yes, I think that right there just speaks multitudes, because I know we've referenced, moms, and we've referenced things like that. But to be completely honest, if you are giving of yourself in some selfless manner, then you are weary. Mm-hmm. You could be ran down. You could have had, years upon years of just complete turmoil or trauma happening in your life. And you have to keep focused on this mindset that the Lord can carry that burden.
Absolutely. And I think that all of these like tangible things that we can do for self-care, this right here is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be added to your list of self-care things.
Yes.
You're tired, you're weary, get your nails done, relax in a hot bath, do your workout, but first and foremost, come to Jesus.
Yes.
And lay it on him. Lay those burdens on him.
And don't pick them back up.
Exactly. Yes. Do not do that. So we really like that verse because we feel like people forget that, we have an awesome God. And if you come to him and ask in him to restore energy in you, like it will be done.
Yes.
So.
And I think that's beautiful. Something that I think is also really beautiful is that I don't know how you guys view this, and maybe you could share that with us, but I view your overall being as your mind, and so it's physical, it's mental, and it's spiritual. Mm-hmm. So physically, are you taking care of yourself working out?
Right.
Mentally, are you focused on daily affirmations and that positive outlook and choosing that kindness? And then spiritually, are you spending time, meditating and focusing on the things of the Lord or whatever, wherever you're at with that, but really just focused on that, because those three things intertwined are so beautiful that you're going to glow. There's going to be a difference about you.
Absolutely. So I really want you to talk about the Proverbs woman.
Okay.
So can you do that for me? Because
absolutely.
You're much better at that than I am.
So in Proverbs, I don't know if you guys have heard this. I'm sure you have, that Proverbs 31 really speaks about
a virtuous
woman. Yes, a virtuous woman is she. And so really quick, we're just going to read this. We're going to start down here. It just says, a wife of noble character who can find, for she is far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with her eager hands. She is like the merchant ships bringing food from afar. She gets up while the night is still, and she provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and she buys it out of her earnings, and she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously, and her arms are strong for her tasks. She seeks that her trading is profitable, and her lamps do not go out at night. In her hands she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor, and she extends her hands to the needy. And when it snows, she has no fear for her household, for they are all clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed, and she is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. And she is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is upon her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household, and she does not eat the bread of the idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. For charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise in the city gate.
Ooh, goosebumps.
It's beautiful, right? Because all of these things, when we talk about flaxseed and wool and works with eager hands, that's translated easily to today, where we're going to get food, we're going to make dinner, we're working all day and coming home and caring for our children and our family. And it says some things that really stuck out to me were, she arises when the night is still out, and her lamp still burns when night goes long.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of a woman I want to be like.
Yes.
And I really feel like when this was written, that God was like, look at this woman.
Right.
This is what I want you guys to strive to be.
Right.
And I know that if we aren't taking care of ourselves properly and not refilling our souls and our, you know, our energy levels and our spirit and our minds, then we can't do any of that.
No,
we can't be like
absolutely
that.
Not.
And that is the kind of strong woman that I aspire to be.
Yes. And I think that when it says that she's clothed with strength and dignity and she laughs at the days to come, I think that there's something so beautiful about that, because it just says, like, it doesn't necessarily mean her clothing, right? It just means who she is, what she does when she gets up in the morning, how she handles herself, how she, you know, goes about her day and takes care of herself, what she lays her hands to. Those are all things that are a reflection of that self-care, right?
Yeah, it is who she is.
Yes.
She's strong and she is proud and she claims that dignity.
Yes.
And I think that's really awesome.
I do too.
So I feel like that's pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like that's a beautiful thing. I want to really encourage you guys to take some time for yourself. That it is not selfish, but it is really selfless for you to care for who you are. Because again, when everything is stripped away, when you know, if your family was stripped away, if your finances were stripped away, if everything was taken, your friends, and you were left there still and alone, are you who God created you to be? Is that where you're at in that point in your life? Are you focused on making that stride towards who God created you to be? And I think that this self-care is going to get us there.
Absolutely.
So I encourage you guys to self-care so that you can be...
So whatever that is, this week,
do it.
Do it. And do it every day. Don't do it once or twice. Do it every day. Make that time. No excuses.
Be consistent.
Yes, we know some of you moms are working moms. You're working from home. You're juggling that and virtual school and God knows what else. But that right there in itself is a reason to prioritize this even more than ever, because you've got a whole new life being thrusted at you.
And it's so beautiful. And let us know. Tell us.
Yeah.
Share with us what you did for self-care this week.
Send us a message. If you want us to pray for you, send us a message.
Yes, please.
We're going to do it. We seriously are. That's what we're here for.
Yes. So why don't we close with prayer, and then I think we're good.
Awesome.
Okay, here we go.
We do it.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just come before you, Lord, and we thank you for this day. God, we thank you for that self-care that you've placed within us, that we've learned about ourselves. God, you say that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And so, Lord, I just pray right now that as these women are listening to this, God, that you are quickening to their spirit what they can work on and how they can have self-care. God, let us be quick to give you praise and glory, Lord, for you are so worthy. It's in your holy name that we pray. Amen. Join us on our next episode, episode 3, You Choose, where we will discuss how important it is to be intentional with your time.